Okay, welcome everybody. I'm so happy that you guys are here. My name is Heavenly Gutierrez. I am a LPCC trainee, and this is Trauma Recovery Support Group. Some techniques that I like to utilize in my support groups are cognitive behavioral therapy, which focuses on mindfulness and really challenging those negative emotions that you might be feeling from something you've experienced. I just want to start by saying this is a safe and supportive space. And there is a few group guidelines and expectations for this group. So 1, this will be a 45-minute session. 2, let's be respectful to one another. Please no unsolicited advice. 3, the confidentiality is essential. So what is said here in group must stay here in our group. 4, no judgment, just listening. It's really emphasized here. We are here to lend an ear to one another, and we're all here for one reason. 5, only share what you are comfortable with. You are not obligated to say anything that you are not comfortable with saying, okay? But your participation is encouraged. 6, please raise your hand when you are ready to share. So some goals for support group are symptom reduction, emotional regulation, and to strengthen our relationships. As we know, when we go through something traumatic, we could experience some negative thoughts and feelings. So one of our goals here are to reduce those negative symptoms. Emotional regulation, like I said, you may be experiencing some feelings that are unwanted or that are affecting your everyday life. So our job here is to just help you increase your ability to manage and respond to your own emotions. 3, to strengthen relationships. With negative feelings comes negative thoughts, and that could lead to having negative interactions. So we're really here to encourage to strengthen those relationships that are very meaningful to you. So we're going to begin with a grounding exercise. So we're going to go ahead and utilize our knee. So you're going to make what we call a box breath. We're going to start at the bottom left of our knee. You're going to breathe, inhale for 4 seconds. Hold, and then go down for 4 seconds and hold that exhale, and it should be the shape of a box. You're more than welcome to do it in the air, but that's a little silly, right? So we can go ahead and utilize our knee or your chair, whatever is more comfortable for you. Alrighty, so let's start off with an icebreaker. What is your favorite comfort food? Does anyone want to go first? Go ahead.
Pizza.
Pizza, yum. I think that's delicious. Anybody else? Oh, go ahead.
An In-N-Out burger.
In-N-Out burgers. That's always my favorite. Yep, pizza and In-N-Out. And you raised your hand?
Chips.
Chips.
Chips and dip.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a big fan of pineapple.
Pineapple. That's a nice, delicious, healthy treat.
McDonald's chicken nuggets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, these are all great choices. And I like how we're all nodding in agreement, so we could all agree we like those things, right? Yes, okay. Okay, we're gonna start off with some brief introductions. Just please share your name, what makes you feel grounded, and what are you most nervous about today? And you can answer one question or all of them, whatever you feel more comfortable. Does anyone want to participate to go first?
Sure, I'll go.
Okay.
My name's Laura. What makes me feel grounded is walking, having some alone time in the nature.
Okay, I see you nodding in agreement. Is that something you like to do?
Yes, I would say more preferably just like the activeness part of it.
Okay.
I think that's where I feel most grounded, and my name is Emma.
Emma, okay. All right. And Laura, you didn't share, but what makes you, if you're comfortable with sharing, but what are you most nervous about today?
Maybe sharing my true feelings
Okay.
in a group setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that could be a little bit scary, especially when you don't know the group and everything's kind of new to everybody. Okay. Did you want to answer any other questions, Emma?
I would say the same, like for the group setting. I think it's a little nerve-wracking, like gets me a little anxious.
Okay, anxious. I can see why. Do you want to go next?
My name's Emily.
Hi, majority of us, we feel kind of are nervous about being vulnerable, things like that. Okay. Do you want to go next?
I'm Lily, and something that keeps me grounded is listening to music.
Listening to music. Okay. Okay.
For myself, my name is Maria, and what keeps me grounded is listening to worship music. I feel that it just helps me relax during hard times. And what was that? The other question?
The other question was, what are you most nervous about today?
Oh, being judged.
Being judged.
Yeah, based on my responses or sharing with other people.
Yeah, and I can see why. You know, like I mentioned over here, this is a new group for all of us. We don't know each other, but I just want you guys to know that this is a judgment-free zone, and whatever you guys say here will stay here. Okay? We're all here to lend an ear to one another. All right. So, just a little bit of what is trauma. Well, trauma is a distressing event or series of events that has a lasting negative effect on a person's emotional, psychological, and physical well-being. Trauma could come from anything from sexual assault to natural disasters. Even witnessing a traumatic event alone can cause trauma. So what does trauma disrupt? Trauma can disrupt a person's sense of safety, security, and their ability to navigate everyday life. Some long-term effects of trauma is that trauma could actually lead to the development of PTSD, anxiety, depression, substance abuse or addiction, and disassociation from society, which is, again, what I mentioned earlier, the broken relationships. Just a fact, actually 70% of adults will actually experience trauma at least once in their lifetime. Alrighty, guys. So here, I just want to go ahead and open the discussion and just kind of let's talk here. I have some questions here. Like I said, you are more than welcome to answer the question if you feel comfortable, or we can actually utilize this ball. So we'll go ahead and pass around this ball, and whoever has the ball is more than welcome to answer one question or all of them. But it's just a fun way for us to kind of engage with one another, okay? So the first question is, what brings you here? I'll go ahead and go first. Well, like I said, I am the PCC trainee, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm very passionate about my field. All right, I'll go ahead and pass it to Emily. What brings you here?
I'm here to kind of figure out more of where my anxiety roots from. You know, I like to be a perfectionist, but I know there's probably more trauma deeper in there as to why.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing that. Alrighty.
I have a similar reason to Emily why I am here.
Okay.
I myself deal with anxiety, mostly coming from the mental health side of sports. I play softball, so I'm really trying to figure out what's the best way, I guess, to cope with it when I'm on the field, and how to take my mind off of like certain things that happen on the field when I'm not like even playing.
Okay.
So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I get it. You know, when it comes to sports performance, I get why there can be a lot of anxiety with trying to be perfect and, you know, winning and being the best. So thank you guys for sharing that.
Maria.
Oh, Maria, go ahead.
Oh, for me, so why am I here? I want to know how I could cope with my trauma that I've had in the past, to see if there's anything I could do with it without taking medication. I used to have, well, I had an ex-husband that was homeless for a while. He used to have be on drugs, and so that took me to a different level of depression.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Maria.
Laura.
What brings me here is finding ways to cope with insecurities, specifically when I want to achieve something that I know I can achieve, and I feel like I self-sabotage from like insecurities.
Okay.
No one.
What brings me here is I'm trying to learn
cope with being alone.
Okay.
I recently have broken up with with a boyfriend, and I was always with him, so I need to learn how to like be by myself and be okay with being by myself.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. I get why that can be a little bit, hard to deal with. So thank you guys all for sharing that. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys are here and that you guys are reaching out for help and support. That it just shows a sign of strength. Okay, so you guys are on the right track. Number 2, if you are comfortable with sharing, we're gonna go ahead and pass the ball around again to each other, and yeah. So number 2, how have you been coping with that, those negative emotions? And we'll go ahead and start with Noelle.
I think I've been coping by spending a lot of more time like with my friends and like my family. I've never really let myself like stay by myself, and when I'm by myself, I'm always like doing something to keep myself like occupied.
Okay. Yeah, that is actually a good thing. Networking and reaching out to your support group and your family. That's super important to keep those networks, and just know that you have somebody to rely on. That's super important. Okay, go ahead and pass it.
I've been coping with getting deeper into my religion and praying and understanding, that sometimes my anxiety is because of my own thoughts and thinking what people are thinking about me, when really the only person who has the right to judge me is God. So that has helped me a lot, and also just learning how to love myself and be more confident, and not everyone's perfect, so just like everyone makes mistakes, it's okay for me to make a mistake as well.
Good. So I'm assuming you're religious.
Yes.
And then Maria, I saw you nodding. Are you religious as well?
I am.
Okay.
I am. So I could kind of relate to what Emily's saying.
Okay, with that coping of
With coping.
having religion.
Thank you. Yes, with coping. So I do worship. I use worship a lot. I go to church. I listen to worship music. I listen to a lot of podcasts and pastors, and that has helped me cope with whatever I was going through.
Okay, that is a good tool to utilize. Religion, spirituality, depending on your own beliefs. That kind of comes hand in hand with meditation for someone who's just spiritual. Praying and having that outlet. So good for you guys, and I appreciate you guys' response.
Okay, Emma.
I relate to Maria and Emily. I also use my religion to really help and just direct me into the right path. And as well, along with this, I like to journal. And when I journal, I use something called the 3-2-1 method. And so I write 3 things that went good in the situation, 2 things that maybe I could have grown on it or improved, and then 1 I feel statement. And then
Good. That is a coping mechanism, is journaling. So good job.
What I use is just like they mentioned, I do use my religion as well. I try to pray and ask for God for signs, and I think, and also like self-talk, like kind of reminding myself that I am worthy and I can do it is also sometimes helpful. But I'd say praying really helps me ease my mind.
Good. All right, Noelle?
she went first.
All right, was that all, everybody? Okay, so it looks like something we have in common, guys, and here in group is religion. Are we Catholic, Christian? If you guys are comfortable with sharing, what is the majority of the group?
Catholic.
I am Catholic.
So I was born and raised Catholic, but I've been going to a Christian church.
Okay. Well, I love that, and that's something we can all agree on, and maybe start that as a little bit of foundation of our group is our faith, right? So good job, guys. Okay, can I have the ball back? Thank you. Alrighty. Number 3, how has trauma impacted your relationship with others? Again, if you are comfortable with sharing, please do. If you are not, go ahead and pass the ball to somebody else, okay? Oh, Emma. And Emma, if you could mind speaking up a little bit. I'm sorry, it's a little hard to hear over here.
As for me, I shared in the beginning that I do play softball, so the relationships that I am more focused on right now is the relationship with my teammates. So typically we all go through the same trauma when, whether it's like practice, a game, like how the coach treats us. So with those relationships, I feel like they're very bonded together, and we kind of trauma bond, and we can either laugh about it, cry about it together, and it's like a really nice safe space. So for those relationships with my teammates, like the trauma does help grow it. And
yeah, I can see why, especially in sports. You know, we always consider we're a team, and I noticed that there is a lot of improved relationships and support when you have those friends in your hobby. So I think that's great that you have that outlet, and that trauma has brought you guys a little bit, you know, closer and a little bit deeper with each other. So that's amazing, Emma.
I think my trauma has impacted my relationship with others. Kind of like I'm more standoffish. Like I think I like to just be more on my own. I don't want to say the wrong thing or them think differently of me. So I would say like me having anxiety has definitely took a toll on like my dating life, and you know, when it comes to like school, maybe like presentations or trying to get a new job, it's just really scary that I'm not doing the right thing. And I also just like to know everything before I can apply myself to something. So that's kind of how it has affected like my relationship with others for sure.
Thank you for sharing that.
I think in a sense my relationships with my friends and like my family have become stronger since I got out of my relationship, because I was constantly like stuck to that one person. Like love, I guess, like kind of blinds you from your other relationships. But in the relationship sense, I just don't think I wouldn't want to try dating anytime soon, because I wouldn't be able to trust anybody because of like what happened with him.
And yeah, and that's a normal response. You know, when someone betrays trust like that, especially more in an intimate sense, it's gonna be hard to kind of go about another relationship. But you know, the first step is you being here and really trying to get past that and work on that. Okay. How has trauma impacted your relationship with others?
So I think that it has impacted my relationship with others is that I can become immediately defensive. So like if I say an opinion or just make a statement, like I feel, and the way they respond to me, I right away get triggered, and then I get defensive and I get upset. So it's sometimes hard to talk.
Okay,
and show my feelings.
That's a normal response. You know, sometimes it is going to be difficult to kind of tell someone, especially when they don't know what we go through. It's very difficult to communicate, especially how we feel. So that is why one of our goals are to strengthen our relationships. Because like I mentioned, trauma does affect the way we interact, and like we mentioned in the part of psychoeducation, that trauma does cause some stirring in our home life, social life, and with relationships. So that is a normal response. Okay, thank you for sharing, Laura.
Right?
Thank you. So for me, the way it has impacted my life, so based on my trauma that I had with my ex-husband being homeless, with drug addiction, I think I was consuming myself into assisting him and helping him, and which was taking a lot of my time away from others, right? So as time went by, I noticed that you cannot, based on my faith and religion, of course, I would always help them because that was the right thing to do. But within time, I realized that you can't help others if they don't want to help themselves. So with that said, so what I try to do now is I try to spend more time with my loved ones, give them more of my time when my life was getting consumed into into his lifestyle, his behavior. You know, by trying to help him, which it wasn't helping him in any way because he didn't want to change. So now I spend more time with my family members, with my friends, in my home, instead of being out there looking for him, making sure that he's okay. So I think it's been good. It's in a positive way.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems something that we all have in common is kind of our relationships with loved ones was forgotten, and you said yours was strengthened. That's good that you realize that, if he wanted to help, he would accept it. And I can see how all of that time could have been consuming into one person. So it's a good thing that you are realizing that you're isolating yourself with that one person. So it's super important, guys, to create that network with your family and friends and really focus on fixing those relationships. And that could be as simple as figuring out your interactions and just try to be more vulnerable with people that you guys love. I think that's super important. And like you mentioned, Laura, the defensiveness, that stirs from a lot of things. Maybe feeling misunderstood. Is that something you feel like is happening?
All the time.
All the time. Yeah. That could be frustrating. Really trying to get someone to understand you.
Yeah, I tend to isolate myself after that.
Oh, yeah.
Always. I don't want to talk to nobody.
And it's kind of like isolation, like you and Maria are having a common ground of isolation. Maybe Laura, you can kind of be more vulnerable with those people that you love and explain yourself, kind of get them to understand your perspective and your point of view, and go from there, guys. All right, guys. Maria, can I have the ball back? Thank you guys for sharing that. That was nice, and I think we found some common grounds with one another. All right, number 4. What is something that has made you feel safe and secure while going through your trauma? Does anybody want to go first on this one? It's okay. Okay, thank you, Emma. Go ahead.
I think just going back to like the religion aspect of it, I think just knowing that there's a plan, and I may not know what it is, but I just have to trust in it, and I know that he's not going to fail me in whatever the next step that is needed to take. So I feel like that's something where I feel very secure in, especially right now I'm transferring schools, and when I made this decision to do that, my anxiety just has sparked up like since then, because I don't know where I'm going to school, or if I am going to go to another school to play softball ever again. So it's very scary and makes me anxious. But when I did do it, when I did enter into the portal, the one thing that made me feel safe was knowing that this thought wouldn't have been in my head if it wasn't the plan for me. And I think that's the biggest like positive that's come out of this, and just praying about it and getting the answers that I need to get, and everything happens for a reason. So that's definitely
So your religion is something that makes you feel safe and secure. Does anyone else relate to Emma? No? Okay.
Maria.
Thank you, Emma, for sharing that. Go ahead, Maria. You said that you kind of related to Emma on question number 4?
Yes. So basically, I could say and confirm that I could agree with Emma 100% that religion does take a big portion of my life now. I did do things based on prayer, and I used my own discernment on things and confirmation to act based upon it. On how I feel, and confirming it based on my religion. And I think that has given me some safekeeping and reassurance that everything that I've done based on my trauma, right, what I had said before, that what I've done leaves me with a clean heart, that I know my heart was in the right place and I did the right thing, even though that person didn't want to change. So I have that's my safekeep and reassurance, so it makes me happy within myself that I'm okay, but I still have that, that behind my mind, like I can't believe I went through all that.
Of course. So it's realizing that you did everything you could.
Yes.
And that makes you feel safe and secure in your traumas and realizing that you're okay now.
Yes.
That's good.
So I have closure. I
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good realization.
So that helps me, move on to my next step, whatever the Lord has planned for me.
Okay, and I see that, like I said, the foundation of this group might be our religion and our faith in religion and prayer. So that's good. That is a good start to your healing journey.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to go next? Sorry, can you see the board?
Yes.
Okay. What is something that made you feel safe and secure? That makes you feel safe and secure.
I think maybe my friends and knowing what I have accomplished. Like I said, like I try to be like a perfectionist, and I think it took me a minute to sit back and realize like I have to be in the moment sometimes and not think about what's next. But I made it this far. I graduated high school, I played softball in college, I graduated college, and I think I'm so worried about what's next that I get lost in thinking like, oh, well, this can happen or this can happen, and I just need to take a step back and be like, no, well, instead, like, I accomplished all of this already, so maybe I'm doing something right. And my friends, I think, ground me and reminds me also that, you come this far, like, not being perfect, and it's gonna work itself out. And I think I can relate to the religion aspect, like, since I have become more religious, like, if it wasn't God's plan, it wasn't gonna happen anyways. So I kind of just am learning to go more with the flow a little bit and trust my intuition and myself, that I'm capable of doing everything that I put my mind to.
Good. Yeah, and it seems like that we're all feeling grounded more with the religion, like we mentioned before. That is a good way to cope and to feel secure, is by having faith. Okay, thank you, Emily.
I mean, again, just something that makes me feel safe and secure is definitely religion. But I really haven't found another way to cope other than that, because I feel like faith is a foundation, right? But it's not the answer to everything. Like, I know that there still has to be more work done. Like, that's again the foundation, but then there has to be an action towards the feelings. And I really haven't found something that I can say other than religion makes me feel secure and safe. I think withdrawing, I know that's not the answer, but it just seems like the easiest thing to do. But I know that's not healthy, because isolation can cause depression, and then anxiety, and then all these ugly negative thoughts. So that's something I'm trying to work on, like the action.
Oh, that's a good realization, and that is a good step into your journey to heal. At the end of our session, I believe we have a good, sorry guys, my glasses are a little dirty. We're at 11 minutes of our session, so we have about 16 more minutes that we need. So we'll go ahead and at the end talk about our some coping skills for you guys to take home with you, and some techniques. Okay.
Natalie, did you go?
Did you go for
Of course, no.
So what is something that has made you feel safe and secure? Okay, go ahead, Noel.
My family has made me feel safe and secure, because I have two sisters who have kind of gone through the same things that I've gone through, and like they've made me feel like, well, I'm okay, like you're gonna be okay, like it just takes time. And like I have a couple friends who have gone through the same things with me, and it's like me seeing that they're okay just makes me feel better, knowing that I'm gonna be okay, and like God has a plan for me.
All right, guys. Well, like we mentioned in the psychoeducation portion of this session, that trauma does affect our sense of security. It seems like all of you guys find some sense of feeling safe and secure in your religion and prayer and having faith. I think that is something that we can move forward with in this group and kind of implementing. How do you guys feel about implementing some prayer, perhaps, if we can all agree on that? If everybody's feels like that's okay, we could begin at our next session and kind of implement that, or maybe later if we have some time, we could talk a little bit about implementing that. Okay, good. All right, guys. Well, last one, and then after we'll open the questions for each other and for myself, or I'll ask you guys some more questions to kind of just get to know you guys' little situation a little bit more and what you guys might need out of this group. What are some strengths you've gained from your trauma? This question's an actually good one. I think it really gives a more positive look to what you guys have all been through. You know, you guys have all 5 different stories here. It's super important that we've kind of, like I said, we found the common ground of faith and religion and prayer. So really think about this question. What strengths have you gained from what you've been through? Okay, does anyone want to begin with this one? It's okay when you guys are ready. Oh, Emma, thank you. No problem. Go ahead, Emma.
I think from the trauma I went through from this past school, one strength I think I for sure gained was confidence within myself, and I think that has to do with the people I surrounded myself with and how they also went through the similar trauma that I went through. And so definitely like the confidence and just hearing like affirmations from my teammates and just like that outside perspective and kind of showing me that like I'm not crazy for thinking or like
Yeah, of course.
what I was thinking or how I was being mistreated. And so definitely confidence, and then obviously that confidence helped me get to where I am today and finally entering my name into that transfer portal to go to a different school. And so although it was a sucky time, I'm very grateful that I had to go through that because I came out way stronger and way more confident than I was when I went in. So.
Good, Emma. Good job. That is something good to gain. Especially, we want our confidence back, right? Confidence is a lot of things for us. And that's okay if sometimes if our confidence jeopardizes. It's glad that you guys are here. And like I mentioned at the end of the session, we're going to go over some things, for us to take home with us to even improve our confidence. Good job, Emma. Thank you.
I guess kind of confidence as well. I think that I realized how much my education weirdly has helped my anxiety. I think taking certain developmental classes helped me understand why, when my anxiety originated, why it originated, and learning different coping mechanisms from school, like when I'm reading, or seeing how parenting styles can be something that causes anxiety, or maybe it was situations I was in sports that already had instilled that anxiety in me. So I think when I found, maybe not the source of the problem because I'm still figuring it out, but when I found like what can be the causes, it helped me realize like, okay, like I'm not crazy. I know where it originated from. Okay, so let's work from there. And I think that's like my education just became one of my strengths, and that helped me build the confidence that when I have a presentation or when I'm talking about something, like I know what I'm talking about, and if you mess up, like it's okay to mess up. So yeah, I can agree with Emma like on the confidence aspect. I think that has helped my anxiety the most, like being more confident in myself and what I know and everything like that.
Good, Emma. Like I said, confidence is a great skill to have, and it's a great trait to get back. So I'm glad that you guys have found confidence in those things.
I think that it has strengthened my faith for sure. Again, because like I mentioned, it's my foundation. But I really don't have anything else that it really has strengthened. Still working on it.
Okay. Do you feel like there's anything, that you feel like that has given you something positively? Whether it can be, I know you said that you had you were isolating yourself. Do you feel like maybe you found out something about yourself going through anything?
Well, I guess I guess I have gained something positive, because I think it has allowed me to reflect like how I answer and how I react to things. So I guess that is a positive.
Okay, yeah.
But what was that question you just said?
If you've gained anything positively out of
Yeah.
out of your trauma.
I mean, again, I guess that is a positive.
Okay.
Being able to recognize, be mindful of my reactions to things. So stop and think before I say something.
Okay, and that's kind of like accountability.
So it kind of is, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. That is a good takeaway from your trauma. It's kind of like accountability. You're being mindful of the way you react, or the way you respond. Just self-realization in general. That is a good trait to have gained out of that. So thank you, Laura.
Maria.
For me, the strength that I've gained. So I'm a nurse, and I think going through my trials that I've been through, it has made me more compassionate towards my patients. I don't judge anybody. I never did, but I think at this point, I just see everybody as equal and give them the same treatment, same compassion. It doesn't matter if they're homeless, rich, poor, they're executives or not. I think we're all human beings, and based on what I've been through, I know that I'm not the only one that has been through this. I've encountered patients that been through the same situation I've been through, or have a family member, or always somebody they know based on their stories they tell me, which I don't go back and tell them mine, but it makes me realize that we're all human beings. And so I see everybody with more compassionate eyes, I believe. So my heart again is in the right place.
That's good. That's good, Maria. Self-compassion is it's a very important trait to have gained out of that trauma, because that seems like it was a lot for you.
It was.
Right.
It took a toll on me in different aspects, mentally, emotionally, financially, in every way. But I overcame everything. Everything financial we gained back. Emotionally, little by little, I'm recovering, and with therapy, I think it's gonna be great. I'm gonna be okay.
Good. That is a good self-realization, Maria. Thank you for sharing that.
I think I've gained to know myself better with being alone. I learned that I don't like to feel alone, but I do like to have like my alone time. I also learned like to know like my self-worth, and like know that like I shouldn't be treated like a certain type of way. Like if someone wants to be with you, they're gonna treat you like good and let you be yourself. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, no, thank you. Yeah, like you said, you don't like to be alone, but you did find comfort that you mentioned in one of our questions in your family, right? So thank you for sharing that. That's a good realization. All right, so I'm going to open up the discussion. I just want to ask, what are some coping skills, that you think you would like to know about or utilize, or maybe something that you can share with your group, or someone that you had that you guys have something in common? What is something you guys could recommend each other to cope? Does anyone want to go first?
Personally, I think
Oh
yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that journaling has helped me the best, especially I know before I have mentioned like the 3-2-1 method, and I think the one is the most important, like the I feel statement, because it like allows me to feel validated in the good and the bad, and it's also so personal, like nobody gets to see it, and you like get it out, you just get out what you feel. And I know in like previous sessions that like we talked about how I've not been good about or I was never the best at kind of letting myself feel my feelings, or was confused why I was feeling so much anxiety. And then when you had like proposed that idea, that was definitely the best one that's helped me.
The 3-2-1 method. Okay. Do you want to share a little bit what that is really quick for us?
Yeah, so it was the 3 good things that have happened. So I normally do it every week, once a week, mostly Sundays. So like I'll write down 3 good things that had happened during the week, and then 2 growths, and never negative, because you don't want to feed yourself negativity, and more just how you can grow to be better. And then the one I feel, like however you're feeling throughout that week, like okay, if you felt good about the week, then I felt good because, and always adding a because, so it's not too big.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to share a coping mechanism that they might recommend for their peers? Laura?
A coping mechanism definitely is walking. Just going out for a nature walk. I think it really helps me clear my mind, clear my thoughts, kind of reflect on the situation as well. Like, okay, how could I have handled it better? How could I have reacted to that situation? You know, because sometimes the easiest thing is to react based on emotion, right? And sometimes that can be good, and sometimes it can be bad. So yeah, I think walking and
Okay, that's great. Alrighty, guys, we have we have about a little less than 4 more minutes of our session. Thank you guys for sharing that. Sorry to cut you guys off. We're gonna go ahead and finish off. I have some coping skills right here and today's takeaways. Okay, so some healthy coping skills, guys. Let's start with relaxation and grounding, and that could actually consist of deep breathing, a little bit like practicing the box breath that we talked about. I'll go ahead and give you guys a paper on the way out, just describing having the whole imagery of the box breath, so you guys could go ahead and utilize that. And mindfulness. When you guys feel overwhelmed or you have that anxiety, just kind of think about where you guys are, and be mindful of of your surroundings. Okay, and that could consist of meditation, okay, prayer in our sense, right? And engaging in your senses. That kind of comes in with mindfulness. And use all your senses to really, like right now, if you were feeling anxiety, maybe you will use you're okay. Look around. There's trees. We're outdoors, right? Feeling. Grab onto something. You're okay. Ground yourself. Okay. Hearing. Listen to maybe something that you might catch in your ear. Really to ground yourself that you are okay, and to focus on the present. Okay. Self-care and self-compassion. Okay, we got 2 more minutes, guys. So self-care and self-compassion. Someone mentioned journaling. That is a great skill for you to write down your emotions. Maybe write down some of the triggers that you guys feel that day. Okay. And maybe in this session, maybe we can start journaling and reflecting back together if that's something you guys are interested in. Okay. Like Laura mentioned, move your body, go exercise, take a walk, go to the gym. If you guys, are not interested in that, take a hike, sit outside, anything like that, just to really get your mind off of something, some negative emotions that you might be experiencing. Okay. Rest. I know we said exercise, but rest is super highly important. Maria, you mentioned you work a lot.
Yes.
And sometimes I could get this little scrambled brain. So sometimes be mindful of resting. Be kind to yourself. Like I mentioned, 70% of all Americans will experience some form of trauma. You are not alone with what you guys are going through. Okay. Just be mindful and be kind to yourself, and give yourself some time to really get over these things and to heal. All right, guys, we have almost a minute left. Emotional expression. I don't think anyone mentioned art, but a good way to really cope is maybe through art. That could be considered painting, drawing, anything like that. Music. I know we all like music here, right? There are some artists, maybe worship music, like Maria mentioned, is such a good way to cope. Anything that really just makes you feel relaxed. That might get your mind off of things. and connect with your friends and family. Like Noelle said, she found comfort in really engaging with her family again. Let's focus on that, guys. Maybe that could be a little bit of a, it might be a little bit of a challenge for us, but let's go ahead and attempt to do that, okay? And find someone that we could, you know, talk to and feel supported by. And that could either be maybe our peers, guys. We are all here for one reason, and it'll be nice if we can build that foundation to relate to each other and help each other. Lastly, really quickly, we are running out of time. We have 1 more minute, but one word that you're feeling right now. Can I go ahead and choose you, Maria?
Sure.
All right, so we can wrap it up. One word that you're feeling right now.
Accomplished.
Accomplished. Thank you.
Grounded.
Grounded. Amazing.
Safe.
Say, great, Emily.
Calm.
Calm.
Word. I was gonna say calm.
And that's okay, that's calm, okay? And I'm feeling happy that we got a lot of those nice reflections from you guys. That's amazing, okay? This is just the start to many support groups, okay? One thing you will take away with you today. Let's start this way.
The coping mechanism.
Great. Good job, Noel.
Taking a deep breath.
Journaling.
Journaling. Great.
Coping mechanisms.
Exercising.
Exercising. Yes, Maria. Okay, now go ahead and just take that. We had a great session. Again, we're going to meet next Thursday around 1 o'clock, same time. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys again.
Thank you.
All right, of course.